Okay, so Colin Cruz hanging out with a couple members of the band White Cross, and since this is a radio interview, at least what I'm recording, I'm gonna have them introduce themselves and tell you what they do in the band. By the way, did I say on the BlastoZoic era, or did I say the Blast? I don't know, because we have 4 stations, and I wasn't listening to myself.
Just play it on all of them.
This this will be on the BlastoZoic era. That's our classic Christian rock and metal station, and we have 8 hours a day of 80s music, which features a lot of White Cross music, including the new single, which we'll get to. But let's have these two gentlemen introduce themselves, tell us what they do in the band.
This is Michael Feighan. I'm the drummer with White Cross.
My name is Rex Carroll. I'm in charge of general mayhem.
Maintenance.
Maintenance, yeah, I do maintenance.
He's the longtime axe man of the band, the only one you've ever had.
Yeah, they let me play the guitar a little bit.
A little bit. That's funny. So we got these two gentlemen from White Cross in a room that doesn't smell so great. Hopefully your radio listeners don't notice the smell and don't mind that. But anyway, so what I want to do here is ask you a question here. It's good to see you guys out playing music again. How does it feel to be out and about rocking with White Cross again?
Well, it's not like we ever tried to go away. We actually have done some gigs. It's not like we're touring full time like it was, but it feels great. And last night was awesome. And, just getting out and being with the community of people who love the Christian rock and roll is awesome. So we love the fans. They love us. They've made it known to us all weekend long. We've just had a wonderful, affirming time, and we're just going around and praying with people and hugs and howdies, and people are buying the t-shirts, and it's just so much fun, and everybody's having a great time.
Michael, anything to add to that experience?
I think it's a really kind of exciting time for us right now because we've got some great, Rex really outdid himself. We got some really good songs for this new album we're going to record. And so, being at this festival and like he was saying, just being encouraged by all the fans, and it's good to know, hey man, we got some new music that's coming out, and it's excited about the future of White Cross.
Random question. You don't have any British blood in you, do you?
I have Irish.
Oh, because I'm hearing like this faint detection of like
Really?
almost a British accent that wants to come out.
Right?
There it is. I drew it out of him. All right, so I need to share a story with you guys in White Cross here, and I wrote this in your book, and you probably haven't read it yet. I just wrote it tonight, asking for stories of listeners, fans of the band White Cross, and what the band has meant to you. You've never heard this story. I know you haven't, because I've never told you. Okay, so I'll rewind a bit before the story. Preamble. In 1984, I got saved while listening to a Christian rock radio program. They were playing Petra and Whiteheart and things like that, and Striper by my request. And I started to build this huge collection of Christian cassettes, like we were talking about earlier, and CDs. And then 3 years later, in 1987, I specifically remember I was listening to a CD from White Cross in my bedroom when the Lord gave me my calling in life, which he told me he wanted me to become a Christian metal radio DJ and programmer.
Wow.
And I followed that course as much as I could. The only times I didn't do it was when I didn't have an opportunity. Mostly it's been Christian rock, but I think he used the term metal because he wanted to show me he meant real rock, not Mercy Me and things like that.
Yeah, well, remember that back in 1987, like White Cross actually was a Christian metal band. That was state of the art. That was metal music. And now, by today's standards, you listen to it and you just, oh, that's just classic rock, because the heavy metal music is much more extreme. It's heavier, it's louder, faster, more aggressive, blah, blah, blah. And so what we do is consider, that's, the old timers music.
Well, and I did consider it metal back in the day, and I totally agree with you, because on our new rock station, the Blast, which does not play White Cross, we play the modern bands.
Yeah.
The heavy bands like Disciple and Skillet, they're just every bit as heavy as what you guys were. You were metal back in the day. You're still metal, but by today's standards, you're right. They're hard rock. They're not metal, and of course.
Yeah, we're more hard rock, melodic rock, classic rock. Mm-hmm. If you think of bands from the era that people would compare us to, Rat, Whitesnake, Van Halen, Motley Crue, Scorpions, if you think of all those kind of bands, and you would kind of lump them all in together and say, well, that's kind of classic rock, classic hard rock. So you could rightfully say that White Cross is from that era.
Yep. Absolutely. Did you guys ever get tired of the, oh, they sound like Rat comparisons? Did that ever bother you?
Well, it never bothered me because it was never a contrived or intentional thing. It just so happened purely by coincidence that Scotty, his singing voice, people said, you know, that dude sounds a lot like the guy from Rat. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's just uncanny.
Yeah, that's what I was
it was really fun, you know, and so I was like, I figured, well, that's cool because, you know, that'll help us when we put a record out. If somebody says that they like Rat, well, then they probably like White Cross too. And so that's a way to, you know, for people to begin to get to know us and find out what we're like. Now, if you're on your 4th or your 5th album and people are still saying, oh yeah, they sound like Rat, well, then I think then you've got a problem. You're not growing artistically or musically. But when we came out, and again, I wasn't trying to write in the style of Rat either, although, you know, that one song that we did, Enough Is Enough, just really had that Rat vibe all over it. But, you know, so what? You know, we came by it honestly, and we've come a long ways since then, certainly. And, you know, but we're still writing that music that the same way that we've always done it.
How is Scott Wimsel doing these days? Is he still singing? Why is he not part of the group? That's what's on the mind of every White Cross fan out there. They want to know what happened to Scott.
Yeah, he's doing good. I keep in touch with Scotty periodically, and he's retired, just kind of chilling. I think he says he wants to do music, but, you know, it takes a lot to really, you know, to say it and then actually get behind it and do it. And I don't know if you want to address why Scotty's, you know, not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know, for years and years and years, we just, it's kind of like if you look in Scripture at the ministries of Paul and Barnabas, both servants of the Lord, both love the Lord, both trying to do God's purpose in their life. It's just that they don't really blend well together. So they finally just said it, as Paul said, it's better off to part ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, hey, we were together for 37 years. So I think that we did everything that we were supposed to do together.
It ran its course.
It ran its course, you know. It's a band, you know. It's a rock band. Come on.
Yeah.
How long?
Revolving door.
How long does a band usually last?
Right.
For like 5-6 months. You know. Oh, he's an idiot. I quit. You know. You know. Oh, let's fire so and so. You know. It's like, I mean.
You can be happy now that you've had your drummer for about 30 years and your bass player for 20.
Exactly. You know. So we have carried on as best as we can, and sometimes it's just, you know, we weren't able to do any new music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a new vocalist who's outstanding, and
where did you find him?
So what?
Where did you find him?
Actually, Mike found him.
Oh yeah.
He's I lived in Dallas, and he was playing on the tribute band scene.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine he was in a Whitesnake tribute, and he said, "Hey, check this guy out." And I was like, "Man, you know, great voice." And then we looked on his Facebook page, and he was doing a Christian project as well. So then I was like, Rex?
Yeah, so we got on the phone, we were talking about it together, and so it was very important, I think, because the White Cross mission is not only to play rock and roll, but we have a mission to evangelize and to reach the world with good news of Jesus Christ, you know, hope in Jesus Christ, you know, that's, and, you know, healing and salvation, that's what we're about.
Yep.
So we want to be about the things that God would have us to be about, and that is reflecting the image of Christ and growing in the Holy Spirit day by day. So we took a long time. It's like, this is not something that you can rush. You know, it's not a snap decision. Oh, he sings good. Okay, you're in the band.
Right.
It was like, no, we wanted to really take our time get to know Dave, work with him on a few things, and he's just fit into the group. I mean,
He really has, and it's been years. And this is not nothing about Scotty. I love Scotty. He's a great friend of mine, but it's been so long since I've seen Rex like really relaxed and happy.
Sure.
Because there's not that tension.
Yeah. So for a minute, to put it in one of the world's stupid cliche terms, you had Jamie Rowe of Guardian singing with you. What was it? I mean, that was kind of cool, and he did a good job of, singing in his style some of the way, some of the songs. How did you like that? How did that come about? And tell me about that.
Well, once again, Mike, who plays drums in White Cross, got to talking with David Bach, who plays bass guitar in Guardian.
Right.
All right, so that's drums and bass right there. And like, and David Bach, and correct me at any point if I get this wrong. David Bach is like, me and Jamie are doing things, and the other two guys don't really want to do much. And Mike is talking to me, and he's telling me, so, the drummer and the guitar player from White Cross are still a little bit more active. And it's like, well, we could do, combine the drums and the guitar from White Cross with the bass and the vocals of Guardian. And like, wouldn't that be kind of cool? Just for fun. So,
Right.
So we did, and maybe we thought we were going to have the opportunity to do more, but it just never quite developed to. It took a while.
The intention was good, and we thought it was could have some, life to it, but
like
it
a
just
long,
never did.
Maybe could be a long-term project.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Well, Jamie did a really good job singing your songs.
Yeah, I did. Well, that's why we did it, isn't it? Yeah.
It was shocking. I mean, he's a great vocalist, and he's covered a whole Striper album too. Did a pretty good job of that. But I was like, whoa, what? He's singing a bunch of White Cross? That was kind of crazy.
There you go, yeah.
So, all right. So it must be a good interview, because I'm looking at my notes for like the second or third time to figure out what I'm going to ask you next. So, talking with the White Cross, and you have a new single called "Man in the Mirror." Tell me about that song.
The song itself is written by myself and a good friend of ours from the band, and it's comes from personal experience, not my personal experience, but it comes from a personal experience of overcoming alcohol addiction and AA, and just the journey from my struggles with something that's more than what I can handle. So I keep being defeated by this problem, and turning it over to God, and the first step in addiction recovery is to look in the mirror and to acknowledge that, the truth is that I am not able to deal with this on my own. I need God in my life, and I need to turn my life over to Christ, and I've done it my way. Now I need to allow God to do it His way in me. So it's a wonderful song, and I just really love it. And that was like one of the first things that we did with David Roberts, and David he sang the living daylights out of it.
And I think the thing that excites me, and I'm sure Rex as well, is, when I heard that song, I was like, wow, this is so good. But now all the other songs he's been writing are as good and better.
Wow.
There's a lot of dynamics. It's not just all in your face. It's gonna be, if we can get everything together to make this like we want, it's gonna be a really good thing.
So what's on the horizon for White Cross? You guys do it. I know you have a 3-song demo. Are you working on a full album? Are you looking to get signed? Are you purposely independent? Not decided? What's going on?
We are, I don't know if we're like 2/3, 75% into the songwriting, and we're making demos of the songs as we go along. So it's a steady process. So we will have a new album if you know, God allows us all to stay alive for a little while longer. You know, then
I'm laughing with you.
in His time, we will have a new album in it, and it will be soon, because we're working at it very steady. We're chipping away the stone, and we're already like, you know, we're just making sure we have the right combination of songs. We're even like, a couple songs like, well, it's a good song, but it's not quite up to, you know, we want to have an album that is all killers, no fillers.
Amen.
That's what we want.
Yeah, that's good.
That's always the goal. There's a couple of surprises. There's a couple of acoustic things, which, you know, we have explored into that a little bit in the past. But there's a couple of acoustic numbers, and we do have a record label.
Your own or your site?
No. Well, the nature, I don't know how much technical things people want to know, but the nature of the record companies has changed.
Yeah.
It used to be, before the digital era in which we live, you know, you can't imagine like going anywhere without your cell phone anymore.
Right.
Everybody's got GPS. So the quote, the comment that I read is, the Vikings sailed little wooden rowboats to a new continent, just looking at the stars, and like, I'm missing my turnoffs, and I'm looking at my GPS, and I'm still missing my turnoffs. So this is where we are as a society. You know, we live in this digital world,
right,
and that has affected everything, and it's really had an impact on the music industry. So in the old days, having a record deal was a huge, absolutely, you know, your career will not advance past a certain point unless you are a signed artist, signed to a major label.
Well, right now, 50% of what we play on all our stations is independent bands.
Exactly. So now, the way it is now is record companies, generally speaking, do not spend any of their own money to develop a new act. You know, you contact the label with your finished product that you produce on your own, translate, yeah, you guys do it, you spend the money, you absorb the risk, and then we'll see if we want to put it out. And then in most cases, they'll just skim the profit off the top. So, but what a record label does is still valid and useful for distribution, because if it's a good label, they have deals in place so you can get your music out worldwide, which is something that most artists don't have the time or the contacts, or you know, it's so different parts of the industry still need each other. The artist still needs the label still needs the artist, but the function of what the label does has changed a lot. So a label is not as big of a thing as it used to be, but a good label will get your music out, and they'll assist you with some things like publicity and things like that. So for where we're at right now, we have a great deal with Dark Star Records, and so we have that, and we're working on the new album, and then I think Mikey is working on some dates for us, and you know, Sue, who's been sitting over in the corner monitoring the conversation, you know, I think she's shooting some video over there.
She sure is.
She works on a couple dates for us, and we hustle the dates on our own. Eventually, sure, we'd like to have a great booking agency. Every band would like that. As far as like what's happening band-wise, I think that kind of covers it.
So there's we're talking with White Cross, by the way, there's great community in the Christian metal and hard rock community back in the 80s. Who are some of the bands you most enjoyed hanging out with back in the day? Playing with, or doing shows with, or what have you, fellowshipping with?
We've gotten to meet a lot of the bands, some of them for the first time, like just at the Immortal Fest.
Like who did you meet?
It's happening this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Petra is here, and Fear Not is here.
Cross.
Baron Cross.
Yeah.
No,
You never met Barron Cross until this weekend?
I didn't. Rex had.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Barron Cross played at Cornerstone Festival back in like, what was it, 1985?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
And they wore the blue and the white and outfits, the spaceman outfits. I think they were hoping
And it was GA. Oh wait, I was thinking I was going to spell Guardian for you. They used to do that too, but never mind.
I think they
The
were.
old spelling
I
of
think they were
Guardian.
hoping to become the new Striper or something like that.
Oh, sure.
But you know, with the matching coordinated outfits, I don't know. But you know, so all those bands they're still there, and they all have the same heart, which is they want to play their music, worship God, and bring people into the kingdom.
All right, we'll stop it there. Now I have one liner, actually two liners I'd like you to do. I don't know if you both want to do them or if just Rex or however.
Whatever. What do you got?
Okay, so, or we have you do one and you do the other.
Okay.
Okay, so the name of the radio station is the BlastoZoic Era.
BlastoZoic Era.
BlastoZoic?
Yeah,
I'll do that one.
Okay, these top
I'll do
two.
that. I'll do that one.
Okay,
BlastoZoic
And then-
era.
and then the other one that might last longer is this one that says the early BlastoZoic Era. Because if we ever get a chance to, we have 80s, 90s, and zeros shows on that station. If we're able to split them into separate stations, then it'll be on the early BlastoZoic
Why don't we
era.
do
All
like
right.
we'll introduce ourselves and say you're listening to.
There you go, you do it together.
Let me just try one here.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
This is Rex Carroll from White Cross. Now, you know, kids, back in the early prehistory of all music, when electric guitars actually had to be plugged into wall sockets, in the early BlastoZoic era, we played all of the classic rock. You are listening to the early BlastoZoic era right here. Turn it on, tune it up, and rip the knob off.
Much better than what I wrote. Okay, now you can do
great.
this top one here. It's just the BlastoZoic era.
BlastoZoic
And you
era.
can ad lib as
Okay.
you feel.
From the dawn of rock and roll.
Hey everybody, this is Michael Feighan with White Cross, and you're listening to the Early? No, I'm just BlastoZoic.
The top one.
I can't see
You're
without
so
my
blasted.
glasses.
Take two.
BlastoZoic? BlastoZoic era?
BlastoZoic, yes.
Not era, just BlastoZoic.
No, the BlastoZoic era. That's why it
From the
says.
dawn of
Like I'm
history.
in the
That's
studio.
why it says the BlastoZoic era.
Well, without my glasses.
If you can
I
zoom
don't
in,
have, I can't, it's all blurry to me.
How's this?
that makes it worse.
I'm like, this is Michael Feighan, you're
You ever see that Adam Sandler Saturday Night Live routine? No. I got a cell phone in my nose. Can I get me some candy?
All right.
Okay.
Now I
You guys
can
can't
remember
be
it because now
Except
it's
for her,
gone
this
anyway.
is funny. Okay, go ahead. Oh, here. There's the microphone.
This is Michael Feighan with White Cross, and you're listening to the BlastoZoic era. Rock on!
Yeah.
There you go. His is better than mine. Even. Short to the point.
Well, yours was funny too. Yours was like one of the most creative ever. Just off the cuff, man. That's
Oh,
cool.
right. Most creative ever.
What's that? Oh,
Most
actually,
creative. I get the award for most creative liner note. Or,
Lucky.
what do you call it?
there you go.
Liners.
There you go.
One-liners. I was thinking we were
One-liners.
doing we have this joke about heck. I was thinking, so in heck, you still have Spotify.
Oh,
This will be
But
like.
you know, can I say something? This was so cool. So, me and my dad, we did, I loved him. He passed away about, it's almost 6 years now. But around I think it was 94, we played in California where he was in the Air Force and they retired there.
Yeah.
And so he was so proud, when he saw what I was doing with White Cross. And
Oh wow.
he came to a show and Scotty would give altar calls.
Yeah.
And there was a line, it's a really big church, it was a huge line. 50 people coming to accept
Nice.
Christ, and my dad was in the line.
Really?
And I was like,
Oh, that's so awesome.
oh my God, my dad. Yeah, so
Oh,
that was
that's
really
cool.
cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Comes full circle.
Totally.
Yep. One story I was going to tell you. You guys know the band Disciple, right?
Mhm.
Has Kevin Young ever told you about his nexus with White Cross? The lead singer of Disciple.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
he's got the tattoo on his arm.
He's got a White Cross tattoo.
The cover of Triumphant Return.
Okay, cool. I didn't notice that, but he did tell me that his two first bands were Petra and White Cross, his first two Christian rock bands.
Yeah.
A youth pastor gave him a White Cross cassette.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure you knew that in case you didn't already know it.
Yeah, we're hoping to, God willing, everything works out, we're hoping to get some stuff booked with them.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I bet he'd be honored to have you.
Yeah,
We're working on
we'd be honored too.
things.
Do you know who else grew up on Christian metal that's really big? I mean, much bigger than them. John Cooper of Skillet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He and I have some Bearing Cross stories, but I told her 15 minutes.
I would love to tell John this story. DC Talks band, they went out as a group called Zilch.
Well, that was all the people in the band that didn't mean anything, quote unquote.
Right.
That were the people that didn't get
You
to
remember
sing.
that?
Yeah, so they were called Zilch because they were nothing.
Right.
So
So
we played them.
I
played them.
I played with them. I played about like 6 shows with them, and
You played with Zilch.
just for a second, basically.
That's cool.
And we did a show where John I remember I'm going into the front door and it had Zilch.
Yeah.
One of these songs, opening band Skillet, and I was like, what a dumb name for a band. I was thinking like frying pans.
Right.
I was like, okay, and it was just John and his wife. And
Ken
another-
Stortz and the original guitarist, and then
I think- but
Shane
it was-
McCulkin, the original drummer.
No drummer.
No
It was just
drummer.
them 3, and they were just playing. And I remember thinking, I felt sad for them, man.
Aw.
Terrible name, and the music didn't. I didn't think now they're like the biggest.
Back when they were grunge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're the biggest thing ever.
Yeah. No kidding.
That's not usually about once a year, give or take. His personal assistant gives me a call, and
Who's?
the Coopers,
Okay.
and I go over and I tune the piano.
Oh, nice.
How bizarre is that, man?
I know. It's
Well, you're
funny.
the same metro area, aren't you?
Yeah,
Are you in
we're-
Waukegan?
That we're
Metro
like
Chicago?
Chicago area. Yeah.
Because Chicago and Milwaukee, let's face it, that's just like a double urban area. There's no gap between Metro Chicago, Metro Milwaukee, is
Right. It's just one.
there? Megalopolis.
Yeah. I mean, like
Nice word.
I like that.
we travel
You learned a
over.
new word today.
Megalopolis.
Yeah.
You realize between Chicago and Milwaukee, there's 9 million people right there.
That's funny. I love it. We should do a podcast.
I know,
Folks.
right?
We're having a good time.
So Sue's gonna broadcast all this.
Not all of
Oh,
it.
great.
What do you,
White
what do
cross
you what do you call a beautiful woman on the arm of the bass player?
What?
A tattoo.
That's good.
That's hilarious. Oh, man, that's funny. Oh, very funny.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
We ready to leave the smell?
Oh, yeah.
This beautiful
We've
mess.
gotten used to it now. That's the bad part.
Our nose.